Hello guys, and welcome back to this video. Today we are going to talk about the so-called Rorschach Inkblot Test. Let's find out what this is. First of all, it was created in 1921 by Rorscharch. He was at the time a psychiatrist, a very young psychiatrist, also who's gonna die pretty early on in his life, unfortunately. He was working in this institution, this facility, as a psychiatrist, and also he previously got into lexicography, which involved creating inkblots and creating stories or poems about them. And basically he was into like these ink blots that could be created by ink and just by folding the piece of paper. But he also had been, not only he had graduated from university, and he was under the supervision of Bleuler, who at the time was an important psychiatrist. Also Carl Jung would be one of the disciples of this doctor. Professor at the time, but he also had possibly been influenced by Alfred Binet, who had started to use inkblots and inkblots as a form of testing. What he saw by creating this 10 tables full of ink, and then folding them and then showing them to his patients. What he understood was that patients with a similar or very similar diagnosis would give out the same sort of answers, right? And so he started wondering if that could be a way of testing people and people's disease, because it's a way where you don't have a direct question. The question is, what do you see? What do you think this picture represents? And that is what you think this particular picture represents, right? And about the pictures, there are 10 we said. 5 are in black and white, 2 are in black and red, and 3 are, with a bunch of colors. Whatever you see in this video is not gonna be the Rorschach test, because that could influence and prepare people, and so could condition their eventual answers. So the actual test is kept secret. Only the people that have done this test know about it, know the actual pictures that were shown. But these pictures are pretty close to the real version, allegedly, because I don't know. Alright, so we said was invented in 1921, and let's discuss about the test and how that is carried out. So basically there are different things that get tested, and I want to say there is not a perfect answer, right? Meaning the question is always what you see in this picture and what you think this picture represents, right? So there are things on which the psychologists and psychiatrists focus to understand your personality. One of these things is the shape, right? So shape gives them an indication of your cognitive apparatus, how that works, if it is connected or disconnected from reality. So there's shape, there's colors, and colors is more reflective of the emotional inner life of your inner workings. And then of course there's movement, right? Now movement technically is supposed to be there to indicate dynamism, creativity, flexibility, right? But we'll see that there are different parameters on how to judge somebody from this test. So for instance, one of these parameters is where you concentrate your attention upon. For instance, you can focus your attention on the middle, right? Which would be an indication of you being present in reality. You can go and focus your attention on the upper part of the ink, which would be reflective of you being very tenacious. You can talk about the dynamism, and this one gets interesting because usually dynamism would be that you are expressing yourselves and express your creativity, your imagination, you're picturing a movement, but focusing on the movement apparently is also an indication that you are introtensive, and that means that you are more strong, if we can say so, on your thinking rather than action, which is interesting to me, right? And then you can focus on the global picture or some details of the picture. All of that gets annotated. All of that is taken into consideration. Also, the time you take is taken into consideration. If you rotate the paper is also one of the many parameters that psychologists and psychiatrists would consider to elaborate a response of where's your personality at, basically. And there are things also that we know about possible answers. For instance, if you see fruit, that means you have this tendency to take care of people. And so to be a caring, loving person that is responsible or feels the responsibility for other people. If you see inanimate objects, that is more of an indication that you are a logical mind, and so that your cognitive apparatus and your logical side, your rationality is stronger. And if you perceive that picture to be a situation of danger, then perhaps it's a danger that you feel and that you are projecting onto the spots that you see, onto the picture that you actually are witnessing. And so a good answer here could be that you just concentrate your mind and try to elaborate an answer by observing the white spaces, because apparently the white spaces are those that give an indication of your creativity. Whereas if your attention is simply captured by color, that gets us to a whole new different level, because colors is for people that are more superficial, but they are more extratensive, right? So they're more projected onto actually doing something. So they're more pragmatic, or they're pragmatic enough to think about the action, to go from the thought to straight into the action. So that is pretty much what we know about these pictures, right? An interesting question at this point would be, do they still work? I mean, there are more elaborated and sophisticated ways of testing one's personality. One good thing about this test is that, again, as I said at the beginning, what you have is the understanding of, or a primary understanding impression on somebody's personality without asking direct questions, right? When you elaborate a question, that person can find a way to frame it in a way that is misleading, right? Or that, or there's a chance that it could perceive what kind of question you're asking, right? And so he'll find a way to, he or she will find a way to deceive you, right? But this is pretty straightforward. You have to answer and just say, what is it exactly that you see, right? And if you have only one picture in mind, then it becomes difficult to lie. How much time can you take? I'm not sure. But, so this test is extremely important, but there are other tests that are administered to people to understand better their personality. And Gregory Meyer has carried out this test, this analysis. It's an analysis on 1,292 studies, And he has shown that actually, yes, the test is pretty accurate. There are certain things that might not mean very much. For instance, if you are more detailed oriented, once upon a time it was thought that you had more of an obsessive sort of personality. Nowadays there is a parameter that has somewhat lost part of its value, I guess, but it's pretty accurate, so it gives off a very good understanding, or at least primary understanding of your personality. With that being said, guys, let us know what you think. Let us know if you knew any of this, and comment below. Don't forget that, that's very important. And also, I thank you for your support. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, do that. Go ahead and subscribe, and if you have enjoyed the video, leave a like. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you can receive every new update. With that being said, guys, we'll talk some more next time. Bye!